Is this... It's frozen? I don't know what... Sorry, my audio spikes a little bit, and it kind of works weird sometimes, but hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first official episode of Miss Anime's seasonal podcast. It's basically the same thing that I've been doing before, but, instead of being... there are two slight differences. I'm just introducing this as a podcast, and I'm putting this on podcast websites in addition to YouTube. And the other difference is how we're going to go about this, because originally I just kind of put up pictures and then just went in what order. It was just, I don't remember how I decided the order, but I decided a specific order and just kept it the same order every single time. But in order to give this a little bit of pizzazz and to be a little bit different, what I have is I've put a bunch of all of the shows I'm watching into a bag, and I'm going to pick from that bag. Well, okay, not all of the shows, because there are two shows specifically that I wasn't originally going to watch, and are not in the bag, so I'm going to talk about those at the end of the episode. But basically, that's what it is. So we might as well just get started, and I'm gonna randomly, and keep in mind that one show, Summertime Rendering, is not out yet. So I'm just gonna ignore that show entirely, and if a show comes up that I'm not watching or I've decided not to watch, I'm gonna just take it out of the bag and leave it out of the bag. So let's just dig in the bag and let's see what show comes up first. And that is Reborn as a Skeleton Knight. Okay, so I got about 5 minutes into the show and said, oh my god, I do not want to watch this. Because if you haven't seen it, the first episode of this show involves an elongated 3-minute rape scene. And... well, actually, it was more than 3 minutes, because it circled back to that at the end of the episode, and I just... why? Why would you do that? Why would you start the show? Unlike with Goblin Slayer, it kind of made sense, because goblins are supposed to be these horrible creatures. It's depicting them what it's supposed to be. And honestly, episode 1 of Goblin Slayer was actually the best episode, because it was the most interesting and it was the most fun in terms of horror. The rest of the show was boring as fuck, but it worked in that show, and it worked in Sword Art Online Alicization, because it was displaying the flaws with the system, the flux light system. Sorry, I can't speak properly sometimes. But here, it just feels like it's gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous, or, either that, or it's gratuitous for the sake of just having giving the main character, badass symbol points. Oh, I'm gonna save these young women, and then I'm gonna spend the rest of the episode doing literally nothing but, wandering around, and I don't even remember what exactly he did, because it just, I couldn't, I might watch one more episode to see if it's any more interesting, but other than that, other than the gratuitous rape scene, nothing about this show caught my interest. So, and it's disappointing, because this is one of the most interesting concepts, because the idea itself reminded me a lot of Overlord. But I'm gonna pull another name out of the bag, and it is Heroine Torumono. Oh my god, this girl is so cute, and I love the fact, basically, if you don't know what this is based off of a series of songs, sung by Nori Minase, the Heroine Raising Project. If you haven't found those songs, they're catchy as hell, and I love them, and they're super cute. She's just, and I was sitting there watching it's one of my favorite J-pop songs. It's so catchy, and I was like, this girl has to get her own show. This girl is so fun and so adorable. And it's also kind of an idol show, because they introduce Lip Lip, who is basically the idol unit in this universe, and I immediately knew that she was going to become their manager, because, that's how it works when she's going through this job interview. And I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. But she's so precious. And as cliched as this is, And as Bare Bones as this is, I love this girl. She's so fun. I like the art. I am really pissed off that they did not insert one of the songs into the show, because I honestly think that would have been a really neat idea. But maybe they're only episode 1. They still got time, so we're just gonna move on to the next show, and that is Date A Live 4. So Date A Live is basically a series of short it's an overarching plot, but it's basically the main character, trying to, it's basically a dating sim in the form of an anime, and I really like it. I think it's interesting. I like, so now they've introduced, it was the little one, and, what's her name? The creepy one. I forget her name now. The insane one, and they've introduced Toka, who is basically the one who likes him, and the main one with the sword, and the first one he meets. And now they've introduced his favorite author, and there's getting to be a lot of girls in this group. And I'm interested to see where this goes, mostly because they've come up with some really, really cool ideas. I know it seems I'm being vague, but honestly, Date A Live, what makes it work is that it's mostly just him interacting with the girls. And yeah, there's some stuff about plot, and there's stuff like the fact that there's the secret research facility, and it's basically your typical light novel series. It's good, but we're only 1 episode in, so there's not much I can say. I will say I love the new art. The new art is gorgeous, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like it because it's a big change, but I think the new art is beautiful, and I really wish they kept this art, honestly, for a lot longer because it's so pretty. But anyway, we're reaching back into the bag, and, Yume must. Oh, I'm quitting heroing. Okay, so I don't hate this. It feels a lot like, Spirit Chronicles, Sara Gensuke from last season. Sara Gensuke was really boring, and ended up, with just one of the worst ideas. Can we stop doing child bride stories in anime, please? Can we just stop that? Or not even child bride, but underage bride stories. Please stop doing it. It was creepy then. It was creepy in, oh god, what was called, The God of High School. It was really fucking creepy. Please stop doing it, and just, it's part of why people have such a bad bad view of anime, and please stop doing it, because and the show was going okay up until that point, but I like the idea of the main character, and his relative friend is like, hey, let's attend magic school, and I'm like, okay, I hope they do something with this. I might give it another episode, but so far it's just kind of boring, and it's just another, kid grew up into magic. At least for this show, at the very least, the kid grew up in 1 episode, so we don't have to sit through 9 episodes of him doing absolutely nothing but wandering around and training with magical trainings, and oh, we're gonna meet this person. No, he's already an adult at the end of the episode, or he's already a teenager at the end of the episode, so that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. But anyway, Blue Lock, or Aoashi. I try to write these in English because it's easier for me to remember what they are, but I tend to go by the Japanese name because the Japanese names to me are the correct names. So the name is Aoashi, but if I write Blue Lock or say Blue Lock, it's just because I wrote it down like that. The thing that really bugs me about this show, besides the art looking kind of weird to me, is that the whole premise was, oh, he wants to take over the world using soccer. I don't think it's I don't think they mean that as in he wants world domination. I think they just mean that as a catch-all, but that was an interesting idea. Did not come up once in this episode. It was just basically another story about a kid, there are 2 types with these shows. The types where the kid quits soccer quits the sport for whatever reason, and he's dragged back into it by somebody, and somebody, Or in this case, it's the kid is really good at it, but, you know, he doesn't apply himself, or he doesn't want to do it, and everybody else yelling at him, telling him, you know, how good. It's really not interesting. I hope the world domination things comes into this show, because maybe I'll give it another episode to see if they talk about it at least, but otherwise I can't really. This show is not interesting to me. I only watched it because I watched most shows this season with a couple exceptions. But, anyway. Build, Divide, Code White. Ooh! So, I will say, what really strikes me is about this show, this season, is last season my biggest complaint with this show is that Hiyori did nothing. Like, she literally had nothing to do, and she just stood in the background. You could have basically erased her from the show, and she serve no purpose. Adversely, in this show, I kind of feel like they did that to give her a purpose in this season, and while it bugs me, I'm really glad they did, because now she's basically become, you know, the sort of de facto main character, and that's really cool. I also like the idea that, you know, Kika is struggling with what she did and what happened, because now she feels like she can't do anything. She couldn't protect her brother. She couldn't prevent her brother from being dragged off. So now she just kind of feels like she has no purpose. And meanwhile, everyone else is is struggling with it, and they don't trust her, for obvious reasons. I'm not really impressed with the rest of the cast. Last season we didn't get a lot of characters, and I actually think that was a benefit to the show, because it basically meant that we could focus on the characters we had. But I do like the character, what's his name? Something not Otonashi, maybe? The one who to me looks like that one really popular character from Bleach. Oh god, what was his name? I forget his name now, but he looked like him. And I find it, you know, I find the idea interesting. The thing that intrigues me most about this is the battles, by the way, are still not very interesting, but I do like the plot, and I think it's very, very neat. And I like where it's going. The thing that intrigues me most about this show is when we met Kika in the last season, it's clear that the system, like what she was attached to, had just driven her, made her completely mental, and she was extremely psycho and extremely creepy. I am very curious to know if when we meet him again, because we will meet Teruto again at some point. I have a feeling they're going to have to run into him again. I have a feeling I don't know, but I'm wondering if he's going to be exactly like that. Because the system corrupted her, basically. And I'm really wondering if the system's going to, not the system, the king, whatever it is. And it's also kind of implied that it's a virtual reality, because when they were, he said, Hiyori brings up at one point that he says, you know, he fought the previous king and was in that system once. So I'm wondering if maybe it's like, I don't know. I like this show. I really, really like this show. I just wish the battles were a little bit more interesting, and I wish the other side characters were a little bit more interesting, but hopefully we will, you know, get some more out of this, because I really enjoy this show. I'm not as impressed with the main theme this season. Bang blew me away, but this song was it was good. It wasn't great, but, you know. Anyway, we're moving on to the next one, and the next one is Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush. I am kind of torn about this. I like the art. I like the idea that the main character's an alien. I like the idea that they set it up. I like the idea that they're introducing new players to the duel system, but it feels so clunky, and it feels like you're treating us like we're stupid. Like, it's fine if it tears me a little bit, because I want to like it. I don't hate it, and I'm curious to know if they're actually going to do something with this, unlike last season, where it basically ended up where nothing happened. And I'm so mad, because I wanted to like the last season, but Sevens ended up being really, really dull, and I couldn't enjoy it. Would not enjoy it. So, one episode in, I'm gonna give it another episode to see if anything happens. Hopefully we get a better villain this season. But I'm underwhelmed by this one. Anyway, next out of the bag is Spy Family. Oh my god. Anya is fucking adorable. And I knew this girl was gonna be the draw for this series for me because I'm a sucker for cute anime characters. Anya is freaking precious. And it's an interesting show. I'm surprised that Twilight has not figured out, and I remember the characters' names, which this show left an impression on me. I'm surprised he has not figured out that he's a telepath yet, because it was kind of obvious. Like, she's getting all her answers without even needing to try. She knows where stuff is. She knows where he's going. She knows that he's a spy. I'm surprised that he doesn't figure out she's a telepath, but maybe he'll figure it out at some point. But basically, this is a spy show about a dad and his kid, and oh my god, it's so cute. I'm not crazy about the spy stuff, but at this point, I don't care. Anya is just so precious that I literally don't care. And we're gonna meet Mom next season, and Mom is played by Saori Hayami, who is a very talented, who, if you guys know, you don't need introduction to her. She's a very talented and diverse actress, and the mother on the show is apparently an assassin, which should also add an interesting dynamic. But, anyway, we're moving on. Shoko Shoujo version Ro. Oh, the Executioner and Her Way of Life. I like this show. I think the concept is interesting. I can tell you where it's going from a mile away. It is going to where she's been told that these crossers, or the people who have power, are bad people who are going to destroy the universe and who are going to and who cause bad things to happen, but they're not. And she's been lied to, and she's been told this, and she finds out that they're wrong. That's not, either because of prejudice or because of something that they have. And she meets the girl whose name I now can't remember. Akari, I think it is. She meets her, and she realizes that she doesn't want to send her to these people because they're basically going to kill her. So it's predictable, but it's an interesting concept. And I like the fact that, she's so straightforward. I'm a little wary of her pest friend, because her sex pest friend reminds me a lot of, what's her name? Shiroko from, Index. But Shiroko wasn't just a sex pest. She was, but she actually, had a lot of character, and she actually, she took her job very seriously. She could hold her own in a fight, and basically, she was a very intelligent person. This Momo just seems like a sex pest, and it bothers me, but I'm gonna let it go for now because this show is very interesting, and I want to see where it goes. Art is okay, not great, but anyway, next, Summertime Rendering is not out yet, as I said, so that's going out of the bag for the moment. Because that's not out yet. Let's see. Mahosuke Remiki. Oh, that's the one about the witch. So, basically, main character lost his, what's it called? Lost his, witches are bad. Main character has lost his memory. I'm interested to know where this goes. I don't really remember a lot about this show, other than the fact that he's lost his memory, and he's basically attending this magic school. I have a feeling he's going to end up being really, really powerful and, like, a really, really super important witch or something, but I'm curious, so I will give this another episode or two to see if anything happens, but it's not great, which because it didn't leave an impression on me. But anyway, moving on. Oh, right, Tiger and Bunny. Shit, I forgot about Tiger and Bunny. I forgot this show is. I'm not sure if this show is out on what I'm watching yet, so I'm gonna put that aside for right now. Black Rock Shooter also, for the record, is not out right now. So I'm gonna put that one aside when it gets to it. Greatest Demon Lord. Oh, here's one that I was really disappointed in. The Greatest Demon Lord Reborn as a Nobody. The joke is that the Demon Lord, that's basically the whole joke, is that the Demon Lord, he just wants to live, as a normal person. It's not funny. I don't remember a lot about it. It's kind of dull. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I like the art, and there's a couple characters we still have to meet, which I'll get to. So I'm going to put this in the keep watching pile for now. But I might give this another episode and then just drop it, because it's not that interesting. So, now, moving on. Birding When Girls Golf Start. I did not realize this is going in this side pile because I did not realize this was just one episode. I thought this was a whole series, but no, it's not a whole series. It's just one episode. And it annoys me because it's okay. I didn't hate it. It was cute. But that's going in this side pile because it's just one episode. Kono Healer Mendokusai is going in the side pile because the more I think about it, the more I don't want to watch this show. Because it's another show about a main character who's it's obnoxious little shit, and the people around her who have to put up with her. And Haruhi Suzumiya was a gold standard, but at least ended for this show, and I think I can kind of blame that show for this, because at least she was funny. At least that show had some good jokes, like the computer, where she just barged in to the computer club and took their computer, is like still one of the greatest things ever, and I would highly recommend you go and find that scene in the dub version, because the dub version is gold. But after that, we've gotten a slew of them, and it's just not interesting anymore. It's like Magical Senpai, and Don't Tower With Me Nagatoro-san, and Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out, and My Senpai Is Annoying. We get it. The main character is obnoxious. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to hear from her. What's the one, the sciencey one where according to Mother's Basement, who I didn't even watch this show, but according to him, one of the first jokes in that show was that she tried to make him drink her pee, and I was like, no, just fucking no. Ew, no, absolutely not. Nope. I was gonna watch it until he said that. I'm like, no. But there have been a slew of them, and I'm getting tired of him. We get it. She's annoying. We don't want that. So, next one is Black Rock Shooter, which, as I said, is also on hold because that has not come out yet. So, Shield Hero 2. Shield Hero 2 is just the first episode is just basically a setup for the rest of the series, and we're putting the main character aside. We're putting the main plot aside, which is stupid. The main plot is what I'm interested in, for some turtle, and they're gonna have to destroy some turtle, and I don't really care. I like this show, but I wish they would get back to the waves, because the waves are what made this show interesting. And it looks like we might be meeting another hero, which should be cool. Because I have a feeling the girl who wants them to kill her at the end is another hero. I do like that they're giving other characters, like Rishia, who was basically part of the Four Heroes party, and what's his face? Yasu kicked her out, and now she's upset. I like that they're giving them more to do, but the thing that bugs me is he's such a dick. Like, why would you want to go back to him? He treated you like garbage. Can we, stop this whole idea that women need to grovel at the feet of men who treat them like crap? Media encourages it, books encourage it, and anime encourages it, and we've got to get women out of this mindset, because if a man treats you like crap, you run for the hills, basically. But it's Shield Hero. It's really good. I think Philo got taller, which is kind of cute, but Other than that, it's basically just a recap episode setting up the rest of the cast. Go and watch the first season, because the first season, after the first couple episodes, which are hard to get past, is really, really good. And the last one, well, not the last one, but the last one in the bag is Gunja no Fanfare, which I don't really remember that much about. A lot of it wasn't even, as far as I know, a lot of it didn't even have to do with horse racing. It was just basically teen drama, and I'm not really interested in that. But I might give it one more episode, I don't know. But the two, as I said, there are two shows that I watched out of curiosity, which did not go in the bag. And those are Healer Girl and Dance Dance Censure. We will start with Dance Dance Censure because it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't like the art. I think the art is very strange. But for those of you who don't know, I have been watching... I did ballet for a little bit, and I have been watching Dance Moms since it came out. And I know a lot of people hate Abby and think she's a terrible person, and maybe you're right, maybe she kind of is, but here's the thing. That's how a lot of dance teachers are. That is not mischaracterized, that is not exaggerated. Dance teachers are brutal. They will not hold your hand. They will not put up with your shit. If you are late, you don't get the part. If you miss your shoes, you gotta sit out the class. I was in a ballet class once, and the older dancers, they were gonna stay till midnight because they had to get it done and they had to learn it correctly. That's how it works. And I love the fact that the show demonstrates that. The show, she basically tells him, you don't have what it takes. You're gonna have to put in a lot of hard work, and you're gonna have to basically... this is not for you. You need to commit to this, and this is not, and if you can't commit to this is not for you. Ballet is cutthroat, it is brutal, it is dangerous, and I'm not saying that because I agree with the way it's handled, but that's how it's handled. It's dangerous, basically. And I like that aspect. I like how they're not, they're basically showing you what it's like, and they're also showing you how toxic masculinity seeps into the sport, because men do get teased for it. People are like, oh, the only reason you want to go is because you want to hang out with girls all day, and men can't be in ballet. And one of the big highlights of that show is a man coming out and just beautifully doing a dance routine. I should probably mention this. One of the things that bugged me about Gunja no Fanfare is the fact that, or maybe it's that, one of the shows, I think it's that one, is that they literally never show the characters from a forward position. They can't show their fucking face. Every shot is either off to the side or how do I put this? Let's say you're looking at me and the camera's just down at my chest the whole time. I know this is off topic, but that's one of the things I hated most, is that they can't, the character, you can clearly tell these people don't know how to animate faces, because 9 times out of 10, they never show the characters' faces, and it's weird. And it's are you guys amateurs? Because this is stupid. This is, why? Why is this, why? But anyway, back to the show. I like it. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to hold Dance Dance Censure. I don't know if it's going to hold my interest for an entire season, but I do like the idea. And there's that. The last one I watched, which I wasn't even going to watch, but I just was curious. So I turned on Healer Girl, and the show was incredibly boring. The problem is that while the idea of healing with music is nice, you can't really do anything with it. There's a little hint of prejudice about how the main character, about how the healers, they're looked down upon, people don't like it, and that's kind of interesting. But besides that, there's nothing to it. Oh, they heal people with music. Okay, are they gonna actually have a plot to this? I don't know. The art is pretty. The show is pretty. But the one thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if this is a problem for other people, but this may be just for me, and this is something that is a nitpick mostly. Basically, all the girls sound exactly the same when they sing. Like, every single girl in the show, they have the same singing voice. They're all pretty, but there's no range to them. So they all sound alike. Almost exactly like, except for the shyer one, because there's always a shyer one. There's usually a baritone one, a pretty one, and a shyer one. And a very soft-spoken one. And it's okay. And they all sound similar. And one of them sounds like Nao Toyama, which is good, because I love her voice. But it's distracting. And you can't tell who's who. And basically, it takes any fun out of the show for me, because part of singing is people have different voices. If you've ever watched The Voice, this person has a deep voice, this person has a raspy voice, this person has a high voice, this person has a low voice. And that's what makes The Voice a very interesting show, because they sound good, they sound very good, but they all sound different. But this show, they don't sound different, so it takes me out of the experience. And summertime, and that's it for this week. Summertime Rendering hasn't come out. Black Rock Shooter hasn't come out. I'm not sure if Tiger and Bunny has come out. I haven't looked yet. If you like this, I also have a YouTube channel where I post Western content, and I have another podcast where I basically do a media roundup, where I go over all the movies I've watched all the TV shows I've watched from the West, and I also have an anime podcast which is coming out, where basically I'm going to pick an anime which is very, very bad and just roast it to smithereens, and I hope you guys look forward to that. And this is this week's episode of Miss Anime Seasonal Roundup. I might find a new name for it, because that's very long.